Are we all good? Thank you. Ben Marcus, Assistant Commissioner, Road Policing and Regional Support Command, Queensland Police Service. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for your continuing interest in road safety. Primarily, I'm here today to report to you on the results of Operation Uniform Elderberry, which is an anti-hooning operation that we have conducted in South East Queensland for the last few months. And I'll get to the figures on that shortly. I can also tell you today that lives lost on Queensland roads as of midnight stands at 243. Now that is 2 more than the same time last year, but that is significant. That is a significant improvement on where we were a few weeks ago when we had 25 more lives lost. I'd like to thank the road users in Queensland for really heeding the messages that we've put forward, particularly over the school holiday period, and we have seen significantly improved general behaviours on our roads. So I'd like to acknowledge that from the get-go. But now on to hoons. So Operation Uniform Elderberry was on the Gold Coast, Logan, Ipswich and Moreton areas where we specifically targeted mass gatherings of hoons, and I know you guys are very interested in this. Some of the headline figures that I've got for you today, and we'll have a package of vision for you as well, and the statistics. We seized and impounded nearly 60 cars, 59 vehicles. Those people won't get those vehicles back. They'll be forfeited to the Crown. We detected, unbelievably, 92 drug drivers and 72 drink drivers, which is astounding. People going to where they know the police are going to be and where the police are going to be looking for them, yet they still feel compelled to take drugs and drink alcohol. It's absolutely astounding. We also issued over 2,000 infringement notices or traffic tickets, primarily for speeding and again for vehicles that don't comply with the Australian design rules. Bald tyres, broken windscreens, missing lights. And incredibly, and this is in your package of vision, one of the drivers chose to remove the steering wheel from their vehicle and replace it with one off a PlayStation video game. And you will have that footage. We don't apologise for targeting hoons. As we've said many times, everyone's sick of hoons. It serves no purpose in society. It's pointless. Some of the behaviours that we saw are incredible. We saw one guy doing a burnout to a point where his car exploded and caught fire, and they had to pull him out of the vehicle quickly. We didn't seize that car because he destroyed it on our behalf, but that person is yet to receive a visit from police, and that'll be coming shortly. The other thing about the way we operate is we film most of the hoon events now, so we will continue to follow up that footage and knock on the doors of the drivers that we haven't yet come to. So I'd like to acknowledge the reverse onus laws that we have here in Queensland, where if you are the registered owner of a vehicle caught hooning, you are deemed to be the driver until you identify who the driver is. And I think that's an appropriate time to introduce the Minister. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you. And Ben, can I start by acknowledging your great leadership of Road Policing Command and also the great work of all officers right across the state, but particularly these officers who are relentless when it comes to identifying and then taking action against hoons. You know, the only people who think hooning is fun is the hoons themselves, but it is illegal, it is dangerous, and it is also now a key priority of the Queensland Police Service to follow up every single hoon action and, of course, take a strong stance using our strong, tough laws and also those reverse onus laws. Very unique to Queensland, we brought in these reverse onus laws, which now makes the prosecution and consequences that flow from the prosecution of hoon offences more straightforward for police, and means we're catching more hoons, as we've seen with this recent operation. The key for Queenslanders is your part of helping us catch the hoons. With this reverse onus law, any footage, whether it's your dash cam, your CCTV, footage on your phone, can be submitted to the police. If we can identify the car and also have the footage of the hooning activity, then police can take action. So we've got 5,000 Queenslanders, we've got 5 million Queenslanders on our side when it comes to catching hoons. Get the footage, send it to police, and the police will take action. We've got tough laws when it comes to hooning. There's no excuse for hooning. It's not fun, it's dangerous, and it's illegal, and the Queensland Police will take action. Any questions?
Very quickly, just before you jump away, the reverse onus laws, can you just give us a history lesson a bit on when they came in and what it means for people out there, as you just alluded to?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually something that I collaborated on with Ben Marcus. They're very unique to Queensland. So the theory is it operates similarly to a speed camera. If you speed past a speed camera, they get your smiling face on camera, then the registered owner of the vehicle is deemed to be the driver unless they can prove otherwise. It's a similar theory that applies with reverse onus when it comes to hooning. All we need is the evidence of the car, you know, the number plate, and all we need to go along with that is evidence of the hooning, and the registered owner of the vehicle will be deemed to be the driver. That allows us to take action, and if the registered owner doesn't want the enforcement action taken against them, they have to identify who the driver is.
So how long has that been in place for now, and is there any rough figures on how many prosecutions it's held?
Yeah, look, it's been in place for about 18 months now, Ben, isn't it? And we've certainly been using that to the full force of the law. Ben, you might have the exact numbers, but from memory, I think a third of all impoundments now are connected to the owner-owners. Yeah, so we've impounded 60 vehicles here. About a third of them are connected to the owner-owners laws.
I can give you an example, if you like, of how it works in real time. So we have the 13 Hoon hotline. We're putting a package together for you guys that'll be ready in a couple of weeks, but this is a job that occurred for us at Palaszczuk, just south of Brisbane. A member of the public filmed two people hooning in two cars, filmed it on their phone, rang the hotline. We sent them an identifier. We've got a world-first thing in Queensland called Axon Citizen. It's the same technology that our own body-worn cameras operate off. We sent an identifier through to the member of the public. They sent us the footage. So we got the phone call at 11:30 at night when the offending occurred. By 1:30 the following morning, 2 hours later, we had the vision. 24 hours later, we seized both vehicles. One of the drivers got 6 months jail and a $5,000 fine. So if you pick up hooning on a dash cam, on a mobile phone, on CCTV, don't share it with something on Facebook, don't moan about it to your friends, send it to us. We can use it and we will take action if we possibly can.
But how does this operation stack up to previous one? You're talking 60 impoundments, 2,000 infringements. Are we seeing this behaviour on the rise? Is it dwindling? How are the trends?
Yeah, so the clear trend for us, and hooning for us appears in a couple of different ways, but the headline for us is there are fewer people involved in hooning offences, but they're more entrenched. So they commit far more serious offences than in the past. So we will still see opportunistic hoons, and typically that will be when it's raining and they're able to break adhesion with the road, do a burnout, do a donut, that sort of thing. They're relatively straightforward for us. We also see hooning on beaches, and I know I keep banging on about this, but it's very real. There seems to be an attitude amongst some of the public that if you're not on a public road, if you're on a beach, that the rules don't apply. That's not correct. What we see out of hooning on beaches is we see rollovers and people being killed because they're not wearing a seatbelt. But the other side, the bit that really annoys the public, is the organised hooning. It's organised on social media, and they mass up somewhere and they drive until their tyres explode, because apparently that's really clever. Turns out it actually isn't. All you have to do is hold your foot flat on the floor. The most dangerous parts about what we see there are the people that go to watch and to film it. And we've got footage of vehicles out of control running into crowds. We've got them hitting gutters. We've got them catching fire. So the volume of hoons is decreasing, but the behaviours amongst some are increasing, and they are the ones that we will unashamedly target.
And what's the time frame and the time period for these vehicles being seized?
We hold them for 90 days. While they're being held, they attract holding fees and towing fees. So even if you get your vehicle back, it's quite expensive. And then if you don't get the vehicle back, it is forfeited. The vehicle is sold at public auction, and that money goes back to the taxpayers' coffers.
This large group of people caught, would they know to police for anything else, or are these particularly hoons?
Look, realistically, the vast majority of the hoons that we have are young male drivers. They're not exclusively, but as a general rule they are. And I'm thankful to say the vast majority, once they get caught, they do pull their heads in and they no longer participate. They're not the ones we're really interested in. The ones that we're talking about, they go beyond a car enthusiast. They operate on social media. They are doing this for no other reason than to get notoriety. Every time I do one of these, every time the Minister does one of these, we will get canned on social media. We know the websites. I could just about write the script for them on their behalf. We don't care. Nobody likes hoons. They're sick of it. They're sick of the noise. They're sick of the burnouts. They're sick of the smell. People that work in industrial estates should be able to go to and from work without having to dodge half a dozen idiots doing donuts. It's just unnecessary.
When and where did that car catch fire from the hoon?
Now, I can't tell you that because it's not just the person in the car that caught fire that we're interested in. That's part of a more significant investigation that we've got going at the moment. It was in an industrial estate, though, I can tell you that.
And do you know a combined value of the cars that were seized?
As far as I'm concerned, virtually nothing.
Okay.
As far as the hoons are concerned, that they're quite expensive. Look, the vehicles that we seize, we don't seize them on the basis of value. If they are a high dollar value car, like a Lamborghini that we seized last year, they are sold at public auction for significant money, and that money is returned to the taxpayer, which ultimately funds part of what we do to fight the hoons. The vast majority of the cars that we seize, you'd be lucky to get up to a couple of $1,000s, and by the time the hoons are finished with them, you don't want them. They're absolutely destroyed.
Yep. Minister, can I ask you the Auditor General some comments about the management of DNA, recommending 3 years ago the QPS and Queensland Health coordinate more effectively together. Do you have any comments on that, or is there something you'd like to see there?
Yeah, well, the advice I've got is that, that implementation was in progress. There had been collaboration. Obviously, there's some evidence before the Commission of Inquiry around some of the, the behaviours and engagement of other people who were part of that collaboration, so I won't go specifically to that. The key thing, though, about the Auditor General's report is it is a moment in time report, and I understand that the moment in time for this year's report was June, July, which was actually when the Commission of Inquiry around the DNA work commenced. And the advice I've got is that it was a deliberate action on behalf of QPS to pause the implementation of that recommendation because of the Commission of Inquiry work.
Okay. And just on the Family Violence and Domestic Violence Death Review Board,
yes.
Came out at the table as well yesterday.
Yes.
It said that support services and police failed to adequately respond or missed key signs in some of the domestic violence deaths that they looked into. And do you have any comment on that? Is there anything more we can do?
Yeah, well, every agency, and the government, and also I think the vast majority of the community really want systems to improve when it comes to responding to domestic and family violence. There's some great examples of some great work, but there's also examples where the systems need to improve. And the QPS is one of the first agencies to put up its hand to say, we're working hard, we want to do better, and we'll continue to learn from experiences. Tragically, there's been an experience here where people have lost their lives, and I think every Queenslander's heart breaks for them. But of course, the QPS is 100% committed to improving systems, and so is the government, which is why the government obviously has announced a number of inquiries. The McMurdo review and now the Commission of Inquiry into DV responses by the Queensland Police, which is due to report this month, in a few weeks' time.
First Nations women were quite noted in the report that they were wrongfully accused as being perpetrators when they were in fact the victims. How do we sort of repair that work? What goes there?
There's obviously lots of work that needs to continue to be done. It is a complicated issue, and that's why systems need to improve, and also there needs to be collaboration across different agencies, community organisations and the police. And, I know the police are 100% committed to improving systems and doing everything that they can to ensure every perpetrator is held to account and every victim is protected.
And just on health, quickly, we've seen reports come out, linked messages from the RBWH concerning, I suppose, patients, bed availabilities. How concerning are those reports to you?
Yeah, well, I think we just need to let the doctors do their jobs, right? At the end of the day, these are clinical decisions around when people are discharged from hospital. They are decisions made by doctors and nurses, and I back the doctors and nurses of our state to make those decisions.
Is it concerning to hear how many patients need to be treated in corridors? I mean, regardless of which way you twist it, that's it doesn't sound like the ideal place to treat someone in a hospital.
Yeah, well, it's not just in Queensland, but it's around Australia, around the world. We know health systems are under pressure. You know, there's growing demand. There's also, you know, lingering impacts from COVID and the consequences associated with that. But at the end of the day, I'm backing our doctors and nurses. They make the best clinical decisions to support patients.
Certainly.
Just quickly, just for out in the regions, obviously, and sadly not fatal recently in
This
Dalby.
morning, yes.
Yeah, I suppose any message in particular to road users at this time of year, especially when we're seeing such fluctuating weather?
Yeah, look, sadly, everyday people die every day. I spent the majority of my adult life in South East Queensland, and I'm acutely aware of the dangers. Sadly, we had a 27-year-old woman killed early this morning in Dalby. A vehicle ran at the back of a parked truck. So I guess that's still under investigation, and we'll investigate that on behalf of the coroner. But if anybody has any information or dashcam footage or CCTV footage, we would like that. But what I can tell you though, and I'm pleased that you raised it, around the weather, 12 people so far this year, 12 Queenslanders have drowned in their cars in 12 separate incidents. It's the most we've ever seen. And we seem to have a problem in Queensland with wanting to enter floodwaters. So much so that we've changed our messaging through the news media and through our own media and public affairs. Rather than tell you today that it's going to rain tomorrow, we'll tell you this week that it's going to rain next week. We'll tell you the day before it rains, and we'll tell you while it's raining where it's raining. It seems to be the only way to get people to stop entering floodwaters. As I said before, we're 2 over compared with last year's lives lost. But for the people drowning, we would be 10 under. There would be 12 more people getting ready for Christmas right now. There are 12 more people getting ready for formals and family photos and planning what they're going to do. But they drowned. They drowned on bitumen roads because they couldn't wait a flash flooding event out. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Flash flooding rises quickly, but it falls quickly. You can literally wait a flood out. If you wait an hour or two, the road will be dry again. When we have significant weather events, and we know there's more coming, we know we're our third La Niña, if you don't have to drive, don't drive. If you're going to drive, check the Bureau's website, check the DTMR website, check the RACQ website, and if it says there are flooded roads and you don't have to travel, don't travel. And if you happen to get to a road that is flooded, stop, back up, turn around. It is so much better than entering the floodwaters and trying to run the odds and see how you go. We know that 70% of the vehicles, this isn't just where people have died, but we know that 70% of the vehicles that get washed off roads are SUVs or four-wheel drives. People have in their mind that if they're in a four-wheel drive, they can drive through just about anything. We know you can't. We see the footage when it comes through. We see the we see the dash cam footage. We see the CCTV footage where people put their brake pedal on repeatedly, trying to stop the vehicle moving, but the vehicle is floating. We see the reverse lights come on where they're trying to back away. It's already too late. They're no longer the driver of a car, they're the passenger of a boat. And cars are not designed to be in floodwaters. And we see, when we talk to people that get rescued, and we say, why did you enter the floodwater? They say, I've been through floodwaters before. That's the problem with floodwaters. There are logs in it, there are washouts in it, there's significant lateral movement. And all you need is a millimetre or two below that vehicle, and none of the systems in that car that are designed to save you can save you. So please, if you get the opportunity, if you know there are weather events coming, this is you guys in the media, please push the Flood It Forget It message on our behalf, because 12 lives lost from flooding is just insane.
Ben, one more if I can.
Yep.
You mentioned taking the steering wheel off, what that person did to put a PlayStation steering wheel on. Is it frustrating to see people sort of take the mickey out of road rules when you're seeing tragedies every day?
Yeah, look, and this is part of the subculture of hooning. No doubt they thought that was quite funny. I don't know how robust a Sony PlayStation steering wheel would be, right through to the point of if you have a collision and you wind up killing a small child as a result, how would you feel? Might be funny to fit it up, take a photo of it. For the love of God, don't take it out on a road. The consequences for you and for everybody else just aren't worth the laugh. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your interest in road safety. We really appreciate it. We have got all of our officers in charge of highway patrols here in the building today and tomorrow with their tacticians and their district officers. If you'd like to get a bit of footage through the window, you're more than welcome to. Our goal is to stay under 300 lives lost this year. It was not looking good for a very long time. It is now, touch wood, starting to head in the right direction for us. We will not take our foot off the throat. Thank you.